Hey people, welcome to my channel. I quickly want to draw your attention to some of these things that are possibly going to affect your visa approval chance. Just take notice of all these things. Okay, try to dive into what I have to say for today. At least I was able to speak to two of my subscribers reached out to me personally, and one of them was able to share some things regarding our applications, visa applications, and the refusal. She had applied once, she had applied before, and she got refused, so she's reapplying now. And the things that actually led to a refusal, we're trying to talk about what are the documents she submitted, what could possibly be the reason for the refusal, although she mentioned what was stated on the refusal letter was that was the justifications. Um, the reasons of coming to Malta wasn't properly justified, and sometimes these are connected to the things you presented to them. Then when I try to dig in proper, like I want to find out what could possibly be these reasons, then she was talking about how she submitted a statement of account, and then she mentioned she had to use four statement of account. That's one. Let me explain that part to you. Using four statement of account is a big way to show that these things you have in those account might not really be yours. These are not authentic. Now, this is let me explain shit. Let me explain further what she meant by submitting four statement of account. At first, she said the okay, before I go right into the first statement of account and what happened, why that could also contribute to the refusal, I want to quickly come back to the way she submitted her document, the collection. First, she said her school really didn't put her through, or they were not there supporting her from the stage throughout the process. They just give her the checklist and ask her to go submit the document. And what she did was that she submitted almost like all the photocopy of all the document she was supposed to submit. Submitting the photocopy, like she photocopied almost all of them, and they were not looking like real. Then even if you're supposed to go in with the original of your documents and a photocopy to the VFS office, you were still supposed to make sure that those documents doesn't really look like kind of fainted document in such a way that it will not raise an eyebrow to make it look like forged document. So those documents probably might not be speaking the true nature or the authenticities of that of the document she presented. If you are submitting photocopy kind of and they look so fainted, it will look like a manipulated document. You get. So she said she was just submitting almost all she just gathered all the photocopy of the government document, and those are the ones she took to the VFS to submit. That's one aspect. And that would make some of the document doesn't really look professionally, organized, scanned, and it raise an eyebrow. That's one. Two, she submitted a first statement of account. And what led to her submitting first statement of account? That when she discussed with the school that her husband is a sponsor, the husband wanted to submit a particular account, and that account is just 4 months old. 4 month old account, and the school says no, they're supposed to submit a minimum of 6 month old account. And then the husband and said they have another account where there are some other monies in it. So the husband I need to add other accounts that is a bit more than maybe 4 months as well to the 4 months old account. So the husband presented two account, one 4 month old, one probably more than 4 months old. And that's to show the financial capacity of the sponsor. She was also to present her own account to show that at least she has something for herself. She presented an account that is also not up to 4 months. Also, the school said it ought to be 4 month old statement of account. So she also ought to back it up with another account to add up to it. So her husband submitted two different accounts, and she also submitted two different accounts. What are we trying to present there? That is not actually the perfect or the best way to present statement of account. Do you know why? The reason being that how can you say you are actually the owner of the money in different account, and yet you find it difficult to move the money from one account to the other? How? That really doesn't sound, cool. It doesn't sound convincing. So how do you justify that the money actually is there, readily available for usage, readily available for use? How do you defend that? This is what I mean. In case you say you have 4 million in one account and you have 6 million in another account, if these monies are money that you did not, one way or the other, probably have a lock on one or the other, you should be able to just say, of what use is presenting two statement of account? Why not move the money that is about maybe 4 million in one and move it to the other one? Then the whole money would then be in the other one. The transaction flow will show the money also come from you to you. But in the case of Canada, yes, you can do something like when you move the whole money to one account and then you want to convince them that this money actually comes from you to you, then you will just add the other account to show or to defend the proof of the movement of the money from your other account to this. But I don't think for Malta, that's not the issues. You don't really go to start defending, problem, transaction histories and all that. Malta really wouldn't. I don't think they don't stretch too much on defending transaction history to that extent. How Canada would do theirs. Canada on you will need to go you need to add the proof of where the money is coming from. If truly you used your name as the transferer to the transferee. If the money is moving from one of your account to the other one, then you probably will still have to show that account, even the second account that the money left, it's showing zero balance. The essence of you adding it up for Canada is just to show the proof of the history, the movement. That's that. But for their own, the second reason why it doesn't still look convincing is one account is less than 4 months old or is just 4 months old, not up to 6 months old. There is every tendency for an immigration officer to believe you have pre-arranged or these are stage things all right from day one. It will look as if you opened an account recently for the purpose of this traveling thing, as if the account just came into existence because you want to use it for this purpose of which you used it for. You get. So whenever an account is fresh, less than 4 months, 3 months, 4 months, and you use it for an immigration purpose, it really doesn't increase or give you that better approval chance that you would expect, because it would connote or speak or say something like, oh, this thing was prearranged for this purpose. You get. So that's the same thing that also affected the main applicant, which is the spouse and the main applicant, the wife, who also presented two different accounts. It will look like this money might not really be your own if you can't move it from one account to the other. And two, that this money, this account, the fresh account were open for the purpose of traveling. So please, this is what you should take note of. The major problem, the major convention there is not whether this money really came more like a bulk stuff. Yes, the money can come in bulk. So provided you have evidence to prove how it comes, why it has to come in that form. Maybe it's a transfer or money that came from the proceed of things that were disposed. You sold some stuff, and the proceed of that money was why that fund had to come in bulk. You get. But what I'm saying is that please, whenever you know you have this intention to travel abroad, you're planning, start all your plan early enough. One of the way to start your plan early enough is by making sure that at least everything's concerning your proof of fund, you have even put those things into consideration right from day one before your application to get an admission from any schools, talking Malta or whatever country you might be trying to consider. Therefore, your statement of account should be more than 6 months old. And in case you want to present 6 month statement of account, let it be that from the day it was printed, it was more than 6 months old. It will not be stated by the banker that the account was open on a particular day, which is showing exactly 6 months or 4 months range. Please, that is one key reason. I know when I even heard her telling me she presented for account, one was this one, that I said these are the major factors that really will contribute to that refusal. You get. So please take note of that. Your spouse can sponsor you. your parents can sponsor you. These are direct sponsor. And if your spouse and parents can sponsor you, you you can just show their own statement of account. Most time, what I do probably advise applicants to also add their own account in addition to when they spend is to show that they are not totally zero. Like your mom is showing a worth of 10,000 or 11,000 euro, and you at least let that even be, even if it's a million naira in your account or two, to show that there might be a need for you to use that money for an urgent need like contingency, and not until when your mom had to or your family, your spouse had to send money to you before you quickly take care of some urgent little expenses. That will just be there for miscellaneous in case. It doesn't mean the main weight of that financial or the proof of fund that will take care of you for the other period of 1 year or so is the one in your own account. Since you're using a sponsor, your spouse or your parent, they will have the larger amount, the main money for your proof in that account, but your own is just to show that at least you two have something for miscellaneous. That's the essence why sometimes I would always say you can also add your own statement in addition to that. And if possible, that you're a mature applicant, I did that in one particular video that I shared. If you're a mature applicant, particularly the male applicant, it's possible for you to just say, let those money be moved to your account. You see, 80% of the time, 70, 80, 90% of the time, for a male applicant, I would most time advise, if it's possible, let this money be moved to your own account. Present your own account instead. For a male applicant that is a bit, older, to be able to fend for himself. If a matured old applicant, if you're a matured male applicant, it is ideal most times let this money be in your own account. But if you're a female applicant, you're fine. It is convincing that your parent can be there for you and your spouse can be there for you. Those are that. Then going to point number three, I am not saying there's any legal or documented reason why this must be so, but this reason is I keep telling to person, and there's something that I really want to connote to or confirm my suggestion. Now, let me explain this clearly for you to understand. The applicant paid she paid her full tuition fee. She got a 50% discount like a scholarship. Then she has to pay the remaining one. So her total tuition fee was taken care of, like has been paid full. So she's not owing the school. And then the school says because she paid the total tuition fee, she was just supposed to show the remaining money for her living expenses in her account. And then she showed the money she showed in her spouse account is an equivalent of about 6,000 euro. Because what she showed, if I look at it, coming from Nigeria, the applicant, the person I'm talking about, the subscriber 8 are Nigerian. The money she showed was about in her spouse account was about 12 million naira. Now, going by the exchange rate, as at when I'm doing this video, if I'm to convert that money, it more or less like something between 5,000 plus to 6,000 euro equivalent. Ordinarily, before now, the major proof of fund you need to show when you're coming to Malta is ought to be like 11,000 euro. You get now, as at those time we were showing 11,000 euro proof of fund. Most time we were asked to pay 50%. You get 75%. So most time those 11,000 euro now seems as if it's showing the balance of the tuition fee you didn't pay and the living expenses. So give or take, it might be like maybe 3 or 4 thousand, the balance you didn't pay, then the living expenses of maybe 6, 7 thousand. Now, when these schools that they apply to, we always tell them, since they pay the total money, they could just show 3 or 4 thousand for the visa stage. Okay. Now, what I'm trying to say is that the money she showed, 6,000 euro, for me still did not really look convincing enough. If your spouse is having 6,000 euro equivalent in their account, which you are depending on to take care of yourself for the period of 1 year while you are in Malta, then when you get to Malta, you are showing an equivalent of 4,100 or thereabout, you know. So let's say your living expenses completely is like what is in that your spouse account, 6,000 euro. Are you telling me that for the whole of the 1 year, how is your spouse going to take care of himself, considering that that's the whole money in the account, and this is the whole money you're also depending on? what we're saying is that whenever a sponsor is trying to present their account for you, that sponsor ought to show an amount of money that is way, way bigger than what you are anticipating or estimating, so that there will be surplus that would also contain or take care of their own personal needs. They can't just go broke because of you. They can't just be completely empty because of you. That is also where, in the areas of Luxembourg, Belgium, and the rest, when they see your spouse is, your sponsor is showing their statement of account, then they will also put into consideration if there are other children, how many children the sponsor has, would also show that there should be provision to take care of those other ones aside the money they want to show for you. What am I saying in essence is that I still do not want to be convinced. I do not, I want to just give you my own personal opinion, or like my personal opinion, whether you have paid the total money in full or not. I still feel it is ideal to show that total money that is an equivalent of 11,000 euro as a proof of fund. Now, why am I saying there's something that came from the second applicant that I almost want to confirm this, my belief, is that when I look at the checklist I was given to the second applicant, after paying the money the applicant paid, the school said the applicant should show 3,000 euro for the visa stage and 7,500 euro for the temporary resident cards stage. You get now, most of the applicant then will just go ahead and be looking for money. So the guy was not asking me if, since the school, it is from what is written on the checklist is 3,000 euro the during visa stage and 7,500 euro uh, during the application for the temporary resident card. Now, the applicant wanted to now present a proof of fund that is an equivalent of the 3,000 euro. I said no. My opinion is no. Why I said no? You want to show a proof of fund that is equivalent of 3,000 euro for the visa stage. Then when you get to Malta, you want to apply for TRC card, you will not show okay equivalent of the 7,500 euro during the TRC card stage. It means you said the money your sponsor has, the total money your sponsor is presenting as at that time is 3,000 euro, while you use that at the visa stage. So when you now get to Malta, how come your sponsor or you yourself, how do you now eventually be able to get that money later on in a space of a month or two? Well, how were you not able to get the other 7,000 euro or 4,000 euro to add up to reach during the TRC stage? Is there any magic you would do? That simply means, are you telling them that you guys earn about 4,000 euro monthly equivalent in your home country? How real is that? What position are you? What kind of job do you have in Nigeria that you have? So let them then be that the 4,000, 7,500 euro and the 3,000 euro were the total money, or are the total money that will be in your account during the visa stage. That is 3 plus 7.5 is 10,500. You see, it's now coming back to why I say still maintain an equivalent of 11,000 euro. Why? This means that when your sponsor or you present still the equivalent of 11,000 euro, it means even if it's what the government want to see during the visa stages, the 3,000 euro, and then the living expenses of 7,500 euro that was supposed where you're supposed to be showed, you already have them proved, the proof of it. You already have the proof. You have them together in one account shown that these monies are there. So regardless of whether I'm splitting this one now or I'm splitting that one now, so that by the time you are now having to present your own account during the other stage when you're applying for your TRC card, it will look as if the money was freshly sourced for. It will just be as if they remember you presented an account then, and that account was showing in excess, was showing equivalence of 11,000 rand. And what they were expecting to see maybe was less than 11,000 rand, but you guys have equivalent of that. So that is how prepared you were or you are. Then once you're now in the TRC, so whatever money they see in your account during the TRC stage while you're in Malta would eventually means that there's a tendency, every tendency that this money probably was transferred from that account you show during the visa stage, which was probably your sponsor account or your personal account. So there's every tendency that this money was either moved from that account to whatever account you are then presenting during your TRC stage. These are all the ways you can actually really convince the immigration officer, this financial capacity you are talking about. So these are why I feel these things, the little mistakes you made, there are enough reasons to project to, lead to that decision making, why they felt all the things she presented, all our decisions to come to study in Malta was not justified, if it wasn't really properly justified. So please take note of this. And in case you have any other questions, any other thing you feel you want to share with me, or one way there might be a reason for you to disagree with what I said, or you have one or two contributions from your own opinion, you are free to air your opinion, of course. So kindly leave whatever comment, whatever word that you want to say in the comment section. Let's both discuss it together. Let's dialogue. Leave them in the comment section. I would be ready, or I would be more than willing to respond to those comments, provided they are not more of an insultive word or whatever kind of attacks, provided they are just you either in your opinion, this is what you believe, or whatever personal experience you have, or whatever question you want to ask me directly from what you heard in this video, kindly leave them in the comment section. Then until we meet again in my next video, I want to say bye for now.